Hey, narcissists are not like children at all. So why do we say when someone is being abusive that they're acting childish? When adults are being cruel, we say they're acting like high schoolers, like children, teenagers. It's a really incorrect statement, and it's actually a really harmful statement that has infiltrated society through narcissistic abuse conditioning. So the reason why we have this term that narcissists are childish is because narcissists don't do anything without having some sort of plausible excuse for it. And acting like a child is one of these excuses. So, in order for the narcissist to avoid accountability and to believe they're in the right, and for their victims to make excuses for them and give them their empathy and all these things, they have to have all these excuses. Oh, they're just a little bit immature. They just act like a kid sometimes. I don't know if anyone says that, but the reason for this as well is because narcissists mimic people. And for many narcissists, their main sources of supply are their kids. And on this channel recently, we've been talking about how narcissists can't understand people. They also do not understand their kids. Why their kids do the things they do. So, a lot of times narcissistic behavior can appear similar to children's behavior, but the underlying intentions and motives and energies are completely different. Like, completely different. Children are innocent. They're learning, they're growing. They're very different than narcissists. They have certain developmental needs that parents need to meet that cause their behavior. So when we say a narcissist is acting childish, what we're really saying on a subconscious level is that narcissists are innocent. They're acting innocent. They're acting playfully and joyfully. All the things that children are, right? They're innocent, joyful, playful, maybe naive. And so I will never say that narcissists are childish. And I think it's really hurtful thing for children. I think some people think that children are dumb and don't hear things, but they do. And so yeah, a lot of their behaviors appear like children, but the energy is very different. I'll give you an example. When a child in their toddler years is throwing emotional tantrums, the child genuinely doesn't have the regulation abilities to regulate those emotions. And how that child is supposed to learn to regulate those emotions is by co-regulating with their parents. The parent is supposed to model how to regulate big emotions, supposed to share their calm with the child and lead that child into having emotional regulation. Teaching that child through energy, through modeling and leadership. When a narcissist throws a tantrum, a big emotional tantrum, they're not coming from this place of their nervous system is underdeveloped and they're seeking co-regulation. There could be many places they're coming from, but some common ones would be they want to scare others with their anger. They want to force compliance through fear. They want to get something from the people around them. And children aren't operating on this level, obviously. And I think that this term is kind of born out of a collective hatred for children, which is like really nasty and gross in the collective. It's almost like normalized for parents to see their children as burdens, or see them incorrectly, not understand them. And it's normalized in narcissistic consciousness. And additionally, when a narcissistic parent leads their child, that child begins to adopt those narcissistic tendencies. It begins to learn how to be narcissistic, because a part of narcissistic abuse is that safety is in being narcissistic. It's safer to be narcissistic and exist in the system. So when a child is acting narcissistic, they're not acting like a child, they're acting like their parents. But to the narcissistic parent, they're never wrong. They can't tell the difference between them and their child. So to the narcissistic parent, their child is acting narcissistic when the child acts out. They project themselves onto that child. And since this child's brain is moldable and seeking modeling, the child begins to believe that they are narcissistic. And when they begin to believe they're narcissistic, they're more likely to take action that form them into a person that is narcissistic. But children themselves aren't narcissistic at all. Another example could be children can be a little bit selfish at times, a little bit focused on what they want and their needs. But authenticity is a frequency with children that kind of opens up their more empathic side, and the side where they can take you into consideration. But narcissists do not exist in the frequency of authenticity. So they never really get that side of the child. If we want to go really deep, when a child has a narcissistic parent, that child is very alone. Their true self is lonely. When the narcissistic parent projects, they feel unseen, that child. They're not treated in alignment with who they are. And so they feel very alone. And what a lot of narcissistic people don't get is that it's really hard to attune to someone or take someone into consideration when you don't know what's going on with them, right? Like, when people have masks and they're constantly hiding their true feelings and thoughts, I've found it's really hard to attune to them. As someone who has built the skill of attunement within myself, normally it's easy for me to attune to people, which means I can guess what their needs are and what they're feeling and act accordingly in a supportive and nurturing way. That's what attunement is. But it's really hard to attune to someone who has a mask up. It's destabilizing. It's confusing. Because we're supposed to attune to each other and care for each other, and kids have this very caring nature. But that attunement is never really allowed to develop in them because they're surrounded by these energies that don't allow them to build these skills that otherwise they'd build. Narcissists are very good at manipulation. So what they do is they mirror and mimic people, children, others to manipulate. High schoolers don't gossip and act cruel because they're teenagers, and that's what teenagers do. They're not acting like teenagers. They're acting like narcissists when they do that. The people who have been leading them. So, that is why we say narcissists are acting like children. It's one big manipulation that's very cruel. And we can see how it is almost like a spell of gaslighting every time we say this and hear this. Narcissists are innocent. Narcissists are acting like children. Children are innocent, joyful, fun. People, they're lovable. And so when we say narcissists are acting like children, we're saying narcissists are lovable, magnetic, joyful, and innocent. No. No. But that's what the narcissist wants you to think, right? That they're all those things. And those are some of the illusions we carry when we get involved with narcissistic people in romantic relationships or whatever it is. We carry those illusions that they are this amazing, beautiful person, and when those illusions dissolve, we realize they were never that person, and sometimes that person we thought they were was actually us. So